I think of probably any aspect that determines a success of a team. I would have to say leadership is probably up there as one of the, if not the biggest factor that contributes to a team being successful.
And I'm here at Byers Field, where Byers High School competes in Class 1A, Colorado's smallest 11-man football class. But don't call their passing offense small. Bulldogs again lead the state in passing yards. This year, it's senior quarterback Jordan Dodge. An all-state quarterback his freshman year has been sidelined by injuries throughout his sophomore and junior season. But he's back for his senior year, and it looks like he hasn't missed a beat. He leads the Byers offense, and we'll see just what it takes for Jordan to lead this high-flying attack. This is Jordan Dodge, the quarterback of the Byers High School football team. But his high school career has been anything but easy.
Freshman year, I had an opportunity to start. It was 10 seniors and me, and so that made my life pretty easy. We ran the ball more that year, but we were efficient passing. And that year, we ended up getting to the quarterfinals and come up a little bit shorter than we wanted to, but I ended up getting all-state honorable mention that year as a freshman, mostly because we got that far in the playoffs. And then sophomore year, it's a rebuilding year. We were down, but I threw for 1,700 yards, I think, and we ended up missing the playoffs. And last game, I ended up getting hurt. Took a shot to the knee in the last game, and ended up being out for pretty much the next year.
Jordan was pretty much our coach. We don't really respect everybody else as much as we should, and Jordan's really right there. We respect him so much, and he was on the sideline telling everybody what they needed to do every play. He read the coverages, he told Travis what reads to make, he told the receivers where to go when they're doing different things. He was just amazing on the sideline. He was another coach. He had all the respect of all the players, and it was great having him there.
Let's go, guys!
Well, it's good to be back for sure. And as a quarterback, it's always good to have 4 or 5 receivers like we do that can continually get open. It's hard to stop an offense like that when you can't key one guy. And it's good to be back and be a leader and be a vocal leader on the field. And you know, when things aren't going right, that's when a true leader shows up, and that's when you have to stay positive, no matter what the situation is.
Knowing what you're doing on the field and really having poise, I think, is what it is. A quarterback who's, you know, a little bit too hard on his receivers, you know, maybe they're not going to run the right routes for him. A quarterback who doesn't give him any recognition, maybe, you know, Jordan is, he's really unselfish. He thanks you for, you know, hey, that was a great route, or, you know, hey, we should be doing this. It's really, you're working with him. You're not, he's not in the spotlight. When you're with Jordan, it's everybody's a team. He's not out there playing for himself. He's out there with all 11 guys.
That, as a freshman, it was tough because the seniors had been through the wars and I hadn't. So it was tough, but I think as a quarterback, you have to be a leader. If you want to be a productive quarterback, you have to, and you have to have the respect and you want the other people around to be, you know, like if it's crunch time, then you want them to believe that, you know, you're going to lead them down the field and score if you have to. So, but I had to take more of a leader role after they left. You know, as a freshman, I was kind of just another piece of the puzzle. But leadership-wise, it definitely actually showed me how to be a good leader and what it took during practice and games to be a good leader.
Yeah, I'm so proud of him with what he's gone through with both knee injuries. For him just to come back and be on the field and compete exceeded expectations that we had at some point in time when he was going through rehab. You know, we've never really talked a whole lot with people about the severity of the left knee and what he's gone through. You know, there were not necessarily expectations from the doctors that he'd be doing what he's doing now. So for him just to even be back on the field is great. And for what he's then gone on and done this fall, physically is just almost a miracle for us as parents watching him. And to watch him lead when he wasn't really a part of it last year, I'm just amazed at how the kids rally around him. But I am very proud of how he conducts himself. He treats everybody with respect and tries to bring out the best in his teammates, and I'm really proud of him for that.
Quarterbacks have always been great leaders here. With Travis and with Jordan in my past 2 years, they've always been the verbal leaders. They keep everybody, they keep their heads up. They're always the ones telling us, you know, hey, you got to settle down, or hey, you got to do this, because they really got to keep that even head where if everything's going wrong or everything's going right, they're going to be the ones that are either knocking you down, telling you, hey, calm down, we still got a game to finish, or they're going to be the ones, hey, let's get going, we got to come back. So leadership's really present.
Most players hear their parents from the bleachers, but for Jordan Dodge, he hears his dad from the sidelines. A challenge he has embraced as the coach's son.
You know, even as a freshman, you get that of I was only playing because he was the coach. So now, you know, the expectations are pretty high, and you definitely want to meet those, but like that, you know, you can't let it end your day if something doesn't go right. And it definitely makes some interesting dinners, especially if practice doesn't go so well or I don't play too well. It makes it very interesting.
It's a pleasure and a curse. The pleasure is to work with your son that closely, to watch him develop into a quality quarterback, to watch him grow into the leader of the team. The tough thing is, as everyone knows, when you're working with family, you expect more out of them than you do other people. And that's probably been the toughest thing, having coached both of my sons in this program, of maybe sometimes unrealistic expectations because they are your son. Sometimes it's tough to step back and just say, hey, they're 16, 17, 18, and they're going to make mistakes, and you can't have some of those expectations.
Remember that. That's our turn. Let's go. W, get that W. Bulldogs as high as you can. 1, 2, 3.
Bulldogs! There's probably a lot more similarities between, you know, what you would think is your leader in high school and college, and there is dissimilarities. But there is a little bit of difference, and I think the maturity level is the big thing.
Hastings College head coach Paul Merkowitz is no stranger to success. In 1999, his offense broke 12 school records en route to an undefeated season. He knows what it takes to be a successful collegiate quarterback, and Troy Hubert fits that mold.
That young man needs to be intelligent. He needs to be able to process information in a timely fashion. Needs to be athletic here. You know, we've had drop back passers, and there's certainly nothing wrong with a drop back passer, but some of the things that we want to do and be able to run, that young man probably needs to be more athletic than he needs to be as a thrower, which I like to be able to get both. I think it's important. You know, most quarterbacks are going to be leaders just because, you know, generally in high school they're the best player on the field for the most part. And I think that a lot of people are going to follow that kind of person. Now, they also have responsibilities to lead at the same time. But I think it's extremely important because you want that guy in that position to be your go-to guy. He's your coach on the field. That's for sure. You try to evaluate what guy runs your stuff the best. You know, sometimes it's not the best athlete. Sometimes it's not the guy with the best arm. It's the guy that you trust, really, again, because you know, we have a saying, or he's got the keys to the car, you know, and all I can do is call a play. Once the ball gets snapped, that guy's in charge, and so you want to make sure you got a pretty good decision maker there. And so I think all the things that are you know, that we talked about, the different criteria that are important, but the ability to make decisions and make the right decisions with the football is probably the most important thing a quarterback needs to do. Troy is very open to all the guys, especially the guys that were in meetings, and not just the quarterbacks, but the receivers. And when you got a guy that's accessible, that, you know, is your coach on the field, you know, sometimes it's easier for a guy to maybe ask him a question than maybe ask me a question. And the fact that he just takes the time and answers those questions and helps those guys out and doesn't Sometimes you'll get guys, and we haven't had very many in this program, but sometimes you get guys that just think they're above that, and they're not going to help those guys out, and they don't have time for those types of things. And Troy's just the opposite. If you ask Troy a question, he'll answer the question, and I would anticipate he'll probably wind up coaching at some point. He's taken that approach over the last couple of years that he's not only playing, but he's kind of coaching as well. Well, I mean, he's got to, he's got to count on that guy for a lot of different things. One, he's got to count on that guy when he's throwing the ball that, he may be blocking, or he might be a check down or release guy. But especially in our offense, a running back is going to take a lot of pressure off a quarterback. If we're able to run the football, then we're able to throw. You saw it Saturday. We were able to run the football efficiently. We were very good in our play action game because they had loaded so much up against the run. And so, one kind of feeds off of the other. They're together a lot. So, you're going to have guys, more often than not, your quarterbacks and running backs are going to become pretty good friends. It is different. It's probably different with all the quarterbacks, but that, that guy is different because you got to have a trust. That quarterback you kind of have to be on the same mindset, and you don't have to have exactly the same personality, but he needs to know exactly what I'm thinking. We joke sometimes with the quarterbacks, don't do what I tell you, do what I'm thinking. You got to read my mind just like I'm trying to read yours, but it's a special relationship, because again, it's similar to a defensive coordinator and that middle linebacker or that signal caller, the guy that's going to kind of put you in those situations. So you have different relationships with each player, I think, but I've been very fortunate here to have some very good quarterbacks, and of all the quarterbacks that I've coached in the past, we've always kind of talked about trying to bring all the quarterbacks together just one time, and it would probably turn into a pretty good roast, I would think, for me. But even the guys that I coached when I was at Loris, and if I introduced some of those guys to these guys, they probably would have a lot of similar stories and similar memories.